Hello everyone and welcome to my corner of the world. Today we're going to do some stenciling and we're going to be featuring the Loveliest Layers stencils, and they are in the January to April mini catalogue 2023. And here they are, and these are things that sometimes get overlooked when we're looking through the catalogue. And so I thought, well, let's talk about using these and creating some pretty cards. So I've chosen to do my flowers in blue, and the reason that I've chosen to do my flowers in blues is because we have this really pretty sheer ribbon and it's in Pool Party. And some of you may have heard me say before that very often my colour combinations come from whatever ribbon I might have in the drawer. That and our decorative paper collection as well is an inspiration, but certainly ribbons. And I love this because it is lightweight, it's sheer, and it's got a bit of a sparkle in it, and it's not too heavy or bulky to put your finished card when you want to go post it. So there's the colour inspiration for today. So the set of stencils, or they call them masks, but they're basically stencils. So you get this large one here, and then there are 4 pieces that build up the flower. And so there's the 2 flowers ones, and there's the 2 leaf ones. And I'll show you sort of what order to do them in and how to get a lovely effect. So we're going to start with a piece of basic white cardstock. Old habits die hard, is what it used to be called. And this is 5 by 3 3/4. Now, you don't have to worry about remembering dimensions, because if you look below this video, there'll be a link to my blog. And if you click on that, it will take you to the exact posting that this card, that describes this card. So you don't have to go hunting and pecking through lots and lots of posts to find that. Now, I'm going to stick my piece of cardstock down onto some grid paper so I don't mess up my work surface. And I've just got some, this is like a sticky note, but it's like in a strip. And I'm just going to go kind of catty corner across like that, just to catch those edges so they don't move. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use this stencil mask first, and I'm going to pop it at an angle. I'd not actually used this one before, so I'm interested to see how it will work. And if you notice, I've positioned it so that it covers my card, and I'm putting some like parcel tape, sticky tape, scotch tape, whatever you'd like to call it, on top of the sticky note, so that it doesn't stick to the paper and be difficult to come off. So I've got my blending brush, and I'm using Crumb Cake. And what I want to do is I just want to put a very sort of light sort of shadow, just to fill in the white spaces. So I'm just going to pick a little ink, start off the side here to remove any residual. And then I'm just going to sort of go around like the edges. I don't want a complete coverage. I just thought it would look nice to have a little bit around the edges, just to take the plainness off of the card. And it also gives me an opportunity to use this particular mask. And just do a little bit like that. So on the face of it, it doesn't look as though there's very much ink on there. But when I take off the mask, I think you'll see that there is a fair amount. It's deceiving, isn't it? But we have a fair amount of ink. Now I'm going to start my flower. Now, when you look at the masks, you'll see that there's like a matte side and a shiny side. It doesn't matter which side you use as long as you're consistent. So if you start your flower, building your flower by using the shiny side up, you need to make sure the other pieces, the other masks will also be shiny side up, and vice versa. So I'm actually going to have the matte side up on this one, because then it won't reflect on the light, and you'll be able to see more of what's going on. So I've started with the big part of the flower, and I'm just catching those corners down again onto my little sticky note pieces. And my first colour I'm going to lay down is the lightest of my blues, which is Pool Party. And again, I'm just going to pick up some ink, and I'm going to just start off and then bring on. I like to use a circular motion. I just find it works for me. You can use whatever works for you. If you want to go back and forth, as I say, whatever works for you. And I'm keeping my finger firmly on the top of the brush head, because again, that will allow me to put a bit of extra pressure and help to transfer my ink onto the card. And I'm going to build up a little bit of a strength of colour, because I don't want it to look wishy-washy. And again, you can use any colours. I already explained that my colour choice was based on my piece of my ribbon, but there's nothing to stop you sort of using yellow with one of the pinky reds, or orange with red. I mean, the number of combinations that you could use is quite large. Right, now I am using a different brush each time, but that's just for my preference. What I could do is, when I finished with my light blue, I can then use one of these microfiber cloths, and if I really rub that hard, it will take the excess ink off, and then I could use that on my darker blue. But as I say, I am going to use a different one each time. So my next blue, my darker blue, is called Coastal Cabana. And so I'm going to take my mask off, and then you can see I've got a lovely flower. And the next mask is this one, which has like the veins, for want of a better expression, I think. So then I'm going to make sure again I've got it dull side up, matte side up, and then I'm going to work out which way. So if you have it this way up, then clearly it's outside your petals. So you're going to turn it until you find how it matches up on top of the other petals, and then these little sort of dotty pieces match up as well. And then we're just going to put our tape to hold it in place. And then I'm just going to see how much ink I've got on that. Now this is one of the smaller brushes. You can see I'm using one of the smaller brushes for no other reason that it was spare. I wasn't using it on anything else. So this colour is quite strong, so I'm going to be careful about making sure I don't put too much on and it becoming a little bit overwhelming. So I think I'm happy there. Let's go ahead and put a little bit over on that blobby dots, whatever they are. Artistic design, I guess. Now when it comes to when you've finished with your masks, I just run mine under under tap water and just rinse them off and leave them to dry, and then just pack them away for next time. So they don't take an awful lot of looking after. There, I think I'm gonna be happy with that depth of colour. So we're going to have a look and see what it tells us. So again, I'm just going to take this tape off. Oh, look, lovely. That's nice. It's a little bit pale there, but again, I don't necessarily want it all to be uniform because in nature, flowers aren't like that. So I've finished with my Coastal Cabana. So now I'm going to lay down the leaves. So the leaves come in two parts like the flower. So this one gives you the outline here. And then this one allows you to build up the veins. So once again, I'm going to make sure that the matte side is up, and then I'm going to position them so that they're obviously on my piece of white cardstock, but they're not going to overshadow or overlay my flower that I've just so carefully put down. There we go. And I'm going to use a lighter green here for my flower, my leaf outlines. I'm using Pear Pizzazz. Pear Pizzazz is one of my most favourite greens. It's sort of light and fresh, and it seems to go with lots of things. So again, a little bit of ink on, start off, and then bring onto there and build that colour up. Now the reason I start off of my mask is that if you're not careful and you sort of start straight on your card, you might find that you've got a bit of a blob of ink, and that you won't then get sort of a nice sort of smooth effect. So just a tiny little bit more ink. Can you see this blob of that here? That's just come off of the brush when I re-inked it. So there. Oh, I think I'm happy with that. And then my final colour is Granny Apple Green. Now this wasn't a colour that kind of spoke to me when it first came out a few years ago, but I have to say it's grown on me. It goes well with Pear Pizzazz. Right. And so let's just do this one. So again, making sure mat side up. There's my 2 leaves there and my single leaf there. So I'm just going to again line it up so that it falls onto my leaf outlines, and tack it down. Now by putting tape onto this like sticky note tape, it's easy to get off. It doesn't keep sticking to the paper underneath, and it comes off really easy off of this one. Now Granny Apple Green is a strong colour. I am going to put some down before I re-ink to see, yeah, and I can see straight away that I have got more than enough ink on that brush without needing to re-ink, certainly at this point. So yeah, I'm not even going to put this brush in that ink, and if I do this, you can see how much ink has got in to the brush. I love these little brushes. When I first saw them in the catalogue, well, when I first saw both of these brushes, I thought they were sponge. And when they arrived and I picked one up, I realised that there's just thousands and thousands of bristles in there. And you can see that the colour doesn't go down terribly far. So what I do with my brushes, I'll take the excess ink off with the microfiber, like this. You can see how much is coming off on that Granny Apple Green. And then I'll pop them head down into a jar with some water and let them sit for a little while. And that seems to kind of loosen the ink. And then I'll take them out and give them a squeeze and then run them under a running tap. And then I just blot them with my microfiber cloth again and leave them to dry overnight. Now, they never really return to pure white. This one has had some blue on it, but you can see that is not going to affect the performance. If I use that with yellow or pink next time, it's not going to have a blue tinge to it. It's still going to be a good colour. All right. So let us see what we have. There we go. So again, I'm really delighted with that. I think that's a lovely amount of colour. So we can get rid of our paper. Now I want to put a greeting, so I need to find a space, and I'm going to pop it up here. And I'm going to use my go-to greeting stamp set, because it is exactly that. I go to these greetings such a lot. And I think I'm going to use Just a Note. So I did make, I've played with this technique a couple of times, and I have made a happy birthday one here. And I did do a thank you one as well. And so if I have this one saying Just a Note, you can see how the design of the card will lend itself to practically any occasion. I'm going to use the Coastal Cabana again to do my greeting, and I'm just going to pop it across the corner like that. And I've managed to get a tiny bit of overstamp, which annoys me, but we have a solution. So we'll work our way through that. So my other supplies, envelope, and this is my piece, my liner to go inside the card. And then this is a piece of Pool Party. I'm going to attach that to my stenciled or my masked piece. I'm not quite sure. I mean, is stencil like a UK thing, word rather than a mask? I don't know. But anyway, if I'm confusing you, mask, stencil, stencil, mask. And now I'm going to bring in my lovely piece of ribbon, and I'm going to just flip that and put a little bit of sticky tape over there to hold that in place, and just make sure that this is level. I'm not entirely sure that that is at this time. There we go. And just use my little bone folder here to make sure that it's stuck down. My card base is Coastal Cabana, and I am going to attach this to my card base with some Stampin' Dimensionals. Looks like I need to do a little bit of cutting here. I always like to use up the scraps on the edges. They're just as sticky as the ones in the middle. And if you follow me, you know, one in each corner and one in the middle, just to stop it sagging in the post. There we go. Make sure it's the right way up. And level, there we go. And then I've got a smaller piece of ribbon that I am just going to loop under here and tie it off in a single knot. And then that makes it look like it's been wound round and tied in the front. And so I call this a faux knot. Just makes it easier to get it nice and firmly wrapped round. And I like to just add a little glue dot underneath the knot to hold it in place. And then we just trim off the ends a tiny bit just to finish off. Like that. And then our final flourish is some rhinestones. I'm gonna put a nice big one in the middle because it's just crying out for a big rhinestone. And then I've got my little oopsie up here. I'm gonna pop a rhinestone there. Nobody would be any the wiser that I had a little oopsie. And maybe we'll put a couple more around there. Now I have a couple more things to do. I just want to put a piece of card inside that allows me to write to you, love from me. And there we have some pretty cards. As I say, each of them has the same design, just a different greeting, so that you could use it for almost any occasion. And for this one, I just experimented with using the other mask that's in the set. Well, I hope you found this useful. I've certainly enjoyed sharing these masks with you, and a few hints and tips on using them and your brushes. And if you've enjoyed the video, perhaps you'll go ahead, give me a thumbs up. If you don't subscribe, I'd really appreciate that. And if you've got any questions or comments, if you'd just like to put them in the comments below, I'd love to read them. Well, that's it for me today. Thank you for joining me, and I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Bye-bye for now.